in these kind of temperatures, you also get the opportunity, especially with the quarterbacks, to see how they react. And we definitely saw it. Some of the quarterbacks that normally we would see be more comfortable in the warmer temperatures, they had a little bit of hesitation. My favorite line of the weekend, despite Ryder Lyons, 5-star quarterback, obviously we've talked a lot about him, a top target for Ole Miss, a top target for BYU, USC, plenty of schools in the hunt for him. Despite, I'm sure, him loving that warm California weather, he was out there this weekend. Just another regular day at the office, didn't phase him. But my favorite line for the weekend was, with the cold temperatures, we often see not just receivers, but quarterbacks, especially in these situations, want to warm up their hands and put some gloves on it. And Ryder Lyons, nonchalantly said, like, I'm not Kenny Pittman. I don't wear gloves. And by the way he threw, whether it was his deep ball, we even saw him get reps in for RWE, which is of course anchored by another high-profile 4-star quarterback out of Jackson, Alabama, and Landon Duckworth. He kind of snuck in there and got a tutty, as they like to call it, in the OT7. When I go to OT7, Mark, you've probably kind of seen me drop some things. I'm learning all the new lingo, tutties, money drives. I mean, it really is an exciting thing to watch, and I think despite the criticism that 7-on-7 gets, what I love about OT7, it's fun, it's animated, and and it's kind of laid back. And I think, like, we saw that with Ryder Lyons again when I saw him and got to scout him. He wasn't extremely showy. He was just having fun, making accurate throws, just only solidifying his reputation as a playmaker on the field. I mean, he doesn't have to go out there and prove. He consistently shows every week what he does, and he continued to do that. Like I said, during the downtime, he happened to sneak in there for RWE, making a touchdown in there. But again, another remarkable talent. It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, BYU, USC, and Oregon are the schools really to watch. But again, never leave it underestimated to Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin has been recruiting him very, very tough, very, very strongly. Even though we're not hearing it, in the national media, that Ole Miss is really in the hunt for him. And we've talked about the Ryder Lyons situation. Of course, we know he is a 2026 candidate. However, he will be going on a mission trip after he graduates, so he's not going to see any action on a field until probably 2027. So he's also a very unique situation, even possibly 2028. So that's a really interesting recruitment, and we'll see how it plays out. But again, Ole Miss very much in the driver's seat. USC, BYU, Oregon are the schools to definitely watch on him. But again, another strong weekend from Ryder Lyons, another day at the office, just being animated. Pulled up a couple clips, like I said, his favorite go-to target, Jamison Powell, Ole Miss commit. There's just a unique mojo. I've talked about it over and over again. I feel like a Peter the Repeater, but every time you see it, there's just this magic, this ignite. We talk about it so much. You can put an elite athlete like Ryder Lyons, and if you don't give him that arsenal in that backfield, he's not going to have the same magic. But whether he's playing at Folsom, whether he's playing at 7-on-7, he always resonates and he translates that. So again, another young talent, very fun, very humble. Like when you see him, and you love to see that from the quarterback. Like he takes his game seriously, but he has fun with it. He's very laid back, and I can see why. He talks about, he's fresh off an Ole Miss visit where he talked about, being able to feel at home. He really likes what Lane Kiffin does, how much they pour into the quarterback's development and the resources. Like we've heard a lot of quarterbacks here of lately talk about what Ole Miss does and Lane Kiffin, but he reminds me a lot about Jackson Dart in his demeanor and how he is. So that's why I continue to say we're not talking a lot about Ole Miss, but I guarantee you Lane Kiffin and that staff would rather have it that way because they want to hear about Oregon and BYU being out in the front. But again, Jamison Powell, I'm sure, is becoming a primary recruiter. But it was another strong weekend for Ryder Lyons and a lot of quarterbacks down despite the cold weather.